and very, very honored that I got the response and the open heart, and people welcomed the album. The love I got from the country community tonight really made me feel so seen, and I'm very.
We find ourselves staring into the gilded gates of Beyoncé's empire, a realm we all assumed was bulletproof until the cracks started showing through the marble. From the outside, it looks like paradise. Beyoncé, queen of the universe, queen of every universe. She's got the world's adoration, a music legacy that steamrolls over 2 decades, and a business portfolio that rivals oil barons. But beneath the flawless skin and manufactured mystique, whispers swirl that the house Beyoncé built is showing dangerous signs of rot. The numbers, the business deals, and even her own family dynamics. None of it matches the untouchable image she so carefully maintained. Is it really possible that one of the richest, most protected women on the planet is watching her billion-dollar fortune slip right through her bedazzled fingers, place tanking in ways that defy logic for someone of her stature? Take Ivy Park, her activewear brainchild that once looked poised to devour Lululemon's lunch and then some. In 2021, Ivy Park ran in an estimated $93 million. But the very next year, that revenue nosedived to just $40 million. And by 2023, Beyoncé and Adidas quietly parted ways. For a woman who made surprise album drops a cultural event, who dictated the rules of touring, who can get a bottle of shampoo trending worldwide with a single post, those kind of numbers should be a rounding error, not a red flag.
You did so much for so many country artists like Rhiannon Giddens and other folks who you hear them talk about. I saw her cry on CBS talking about the opportunity, that banjo lick and how it changed everything. How important was that?
Well, the banjo has a deep history, and I just feel honored to reintroduce some of that history that I think has been.
And then came Secret, the hair care venture Beyoncé launched with her mother Tina Knowles in 2024, a move everyone thought would be her cleanest slam dunk yet. This is the stuff of generational wealth. A chance for mother and daughter to cement their legacy far beyond the studio. Except something's clearly not right. Tina, ever the loyal matriarch, stepped out on Meghan Markle's Confessions of a Female Founder podcast and let slip just enough to make the industry flinch. It's her business, so she gets to win, Tina said. The kind of phrase you'd expect from a peacekeeper, not a partner. She admits she always caves to her daughter, even as an adult, because she can't stand conflict. But what's left unsaid hangs in the air. Are we witnessing a slow-motion power grab with Beyoncé pushing her mother to the sidelines under the polite, carefully ironed banner of family first? Or is Tina, with her decades of salon know-how and unfiltered personality, becoming a liability for the privacy-obsessed superstar who treats every business call like a classified operation?
Family out tonight is a family affair. I saw your mother-in-law so proud of.
Yeah, we're going,
Yeah. We always what really sent the rumor mill spinning was Tina's confession that she'd been dreaming of this business for years, but Beyoncé was just not interested in pursuing another business and only agreed after some convincing. Even in the saccharine glow of mother-daughter harmony, the tension seeps through. In the beauty industry, family-run brands are usually all about warm and fuzzy marketing. But here we have the mother all but admitting she's got to walk on eggshells to keep her daughter happy, and by extension her own place at the table. The subtext is brutal. Is Beyoncé quietly reshuffling her empire to keep control, even if it means icing out the very woman who taught her everything she knows about hair, beauty, and survival? On the business front, the numbers refuse to lie. Ivy Park, which was hyped as Beyoncé's answer to Nike and Adidas, has sputtered out. Sales fell off a cliff. Collaborations flopped, and the sold-out in minutes headlines stopped showing up. Even Parkwood Entertainment, the powerhouse behind all things, chump change when we consider the scale she operates on. Meanwhile, Sacred is still being talked about in future tense with fans eagerly anticipating the next big thing. But insiders wonder if the hair care line is already running on fumes, more notable for slick press than any actual market disruption. I want to ask you about Jeezy's album. I think it's genius. Like all of his projects, I thought it was really great. Still, this is Beyoncé we are talking about. She's not just a pop star. She's the architect of modern music, business strategy. Remember when she hijacked the entire album release calendar, turning surprise drops into industry law? Or when her tour's Formation Renaissance became headline-grabbing $500 million cultural earthquakes? For 20 years, she was the one flipping the script, owning her masters, bullying streaming giants into exclusive deals, forcing the Grammys to acknowledge genre bias, and giving her Parkwood label an aura of untouchability. When Beyoncé made a move, the industry followed. Which is exactly why every time her new event turned gold into platinum, what does that say about the machinery behind the curtain? But the most delicious tension may be the civil war brewing right inside her own castle. The secret fallout whispers are getting louder. What if Tina Knowles, with her old-school, outspoken style, has become a brand risk? Beyoncé has always been a master of the veiled message. Someone who never explains, never complains, and keeps the inner workings locked down tighter than a Swiss bank. But Tina, she's out here doing podcasts, spilling details, admitting to disagreements, and giving just enough away for people to wonder, has the mother-daughter alliance curdled behind closed doors? Some former employees claim Tina's traditional ways have started to clash with the militant privacy and control demanded by Beyoncé's team. And as much as the matriarch tries to paint a picture of mutual trust, it's hard to ignore her tone. More like a mother hoping not to get cut out of the will than an equal partner in a beauty revolution. Uneducated gangster rapper. That's all she could. Just as the tabloids start to circle that story, along comes Cowboy Carter, the country album that at first glance looks like another coronation. The record snags historic Grammys, launches a nationwide tour, and even sparks a wave of black entrepreneurship with fans turning their love for Beyoncé's Western rebrand into booming small businesses. The cowboy hat and sash market apparently has never been hotter. Yet, when the confetti settles, a darker narrative creeps in. The so-called Cowboy Carter curse is getting louder in the echo chambers of social media and industry-backed channels. While Beyoncé celebrates her role in reclaiming country music for black artists, a slew of lawsuits threaten to drag her cultural coup into the mud. There are ongoing claims of stolen designs, unpaid collaborators, and creators who say they were frozen out the second the PR team moved on. Is Beyoncé's latest reinvention really as flawless as the press releases would have us believe? Or is the whole spectacle propped up by ruthless PR and a willingness to burn bridges the moment the hashtag changes? It's not just bitter ex-partners or anonymous industry gossips. Even artists on her own label are starting to murmur about sabotage. There are growing allegations that Parkwood, the same imprint that once set the gold standard for artist management, is quietly torpedoing the careers of acts that don't fit the narrative. We've heard the stories. Projects stalled without explanation. Creative control yanked away at the last minute. Singles buried while Beyoncé's own releases get the royal treatment. For years, nobody dared to speak up, afraid to cross the queen. But now, with cracks forming everywhere, from family meetings to fashion line sales, more voices are starting to emerge. Some say the downfall is coming from inside the house.
I do.
Yeah.
And when I get home, I'm like completely lazy. I don't want to clean. I don't want to do anything but try to recover. It's my job to give 100%. And I feel like, you know, I've been allowed to do what I love for so long. I love my job, so the least I can do is give my all. You know, you do.
Beyoncé is worth somewhere north of $760 million, depending on which Forbes list you trust. And her Renaissance World Tour rad in nearly $600 million. But look closer. Ivy Park's numbers have shrunk. Secret's market splash is already receding, and even Parkwood's reported revenue is shockingly low for an operation of that magnitude. Yes, touring is still her cash cow. Private performances, Netflix specials, and film deals prop up the balance sheet, but the so-called empire seems increasingly reliant on old-school touring and one-off endorsement deals rather than sustainable, scalable business plays. Could it be that the myth of Beyoncé's billion-dollar empire is just that, a myth held together by a combination of brand loyalty, nostalgia, and a privacy firewall, so dense even her business partners can't see through it? It's a stunning reversal. The woman who forced the entire music industry to move to Friday release dates, who held the Grammys hostage until they acknowledged genre bias, who turned visual albums and concert films into billion-dollar brands, now finds herself battling rumors of internal sabotage and failed launches. Every time a former collaborator hints at creative differences or a product line quietly fizzles, the immaculate armor starts to look a little more like a costume.
You want it relaxed, but then after just a short amount of time, you can't wait to do something again?
I don't know how to relax.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't like to get a massage. I don't like to.
Oh.
No, I don't.
Oh, I like to get a massage.
Yeah, I go a little far. The only time I can really relax is on a boat, because then I have no excuse. I'm stuck and I have to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And if all that weren't enough, let's not ignore the emotional toll. The spectacle of Beyoncé allegedly sidelining her own mother in pursuit of total control is Shakespearean in its drama. I'm the one to always cave. I've been like that since I was young. If my kids are mad at me, I can't take it. So I'll apologize. Tina confesses, painting a picture of a family so determined to keep the peace that even million-dollar business decisions end with mom backing down. We have to ask, how long can that last before the entire arrangement collapses under its own weight? The music is still selling. The tour receipts still dwarf anyone not named Taylor or Swift. But in the back offices, the family boardrooms, and the endless maze of brand partnerships, Beyoncé's empire feels more like a carrot is enough to bring the wolves to the door.
You know how we waited for this moment. We waited for, I am so good. Congratulations. This is a moment, I think, that you see people clapping in the media room. You saw the reaction out there. What does this mean to you?
It's very surreal, and it's been 25 years of just working really hard and trying my best to keep growing and keep opening up doors.
But as the spotlight moves closer, we can't ignore the uncomfortable truth about Beyoncé's brand. The same icy perfection that's made her a legend may actually be the weak link bringing her empire down. For years, fans and critics alike have worshipped her mysterious aura. She's the superstar who never blinks, never slips, never shows a trace of mess. Yet lately, this marble statue routine is looking less like mystique and more like missed opportunity. We watch as Rihanna, once the upstart, now sits on a Fendi fortune and a global cult following, all built on the currency of being real, open, even a little messy. Rihanna laughs on social media, drops inside jokes, invites fans into her process. She's the billionaire next door, and her Fendi brand flies off the shelves because everyone from the teenager in Atlanta to the 30-some in London feels like they could actually be her. With Beyoncé, there's none of that. She's become an untouchable mythic figure. But in 2025, what does that really buy you? When the biggest launch of your year feels more like a museum exhibition than a shopping spree, does anyone really want to buy in?
Beyoncé for sure. I love her. I love Beyoncé. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
Numbers tell their own story. Insiders who have worked on Beyoncé's recent launches grumble off the record that Secret's rollout has been all style, no soul. Despite the marketing fanfare, many of the brand's products are still gathering dust on premium shelves prized as collector's items for the Vahi faithful rather than daily must-haves. One beauty industry veteran put it bluntly, Bai never comes down to earth with her fans. People can't connect to her on a human level. Her products end up like pop culture artifacts, expensive, aspirational, and locked behind the glass. Even loyalists are starting to whisper that they'd rather buy Fendi than Secret. Not because of the formula, but because they actually believe Rihanna when she talks about her own struggles with skincare and hair. This isn't just about hair drops and luxury sashes. It's a growing perception that the world Beyoncé engineered is so private, so sanitized, it's become suffocating. Brands today survive on transparency and relatability. But Beyoncé has doubled down on her privacy fortress. She only speaks through carefully curated visuals, staged statements, and never ever allows the public to see her sweat. The very thing that made her a goddess is suddenly a liability. As trends shift toward openness and vulnerability, Beyoncé's controlled distance feels cold. The days when a secretive diva could sell out an entire line on name alone are slipping away, replaced by a new era where fans expect brands to open up and show some mess. And Beyoncé, with her famously ironclad NDAs and hush-hush contracts, seems utterly unprepared to meet that demand.
I'm an artist that makes albums.
But Beyoncé's problem doesn't end at her own image. It spills directly into her business empire, especially at Parkwood Entertainment. Once lauded as an artist haven, the label is now earning a reputation as the place where talent goes to stall. The Parkwood exodus is no longer just fan fiction. It's an open secret in the industry. Ask around and you'll hear the same story on loop. Chloe Bailey, once heralded as Beyoncé's personal protege, has become the poster child for Parkwood's broken promises. Her solo launches were hyped as world-changing events. But despite all the machine's resources, her projects have struggled to find traction, eclipsed by constant comparisons to her mentor and saddled with sky-high expectations no mortal could reach. We've heard murmurs from former Parkwood insiders who allege the environment is almost impossibly rigid. It's like working in a glass palace, says one former creative. Everything you do is judged against what Beyoncé would do, and nobody, not even Beyoncé, can actually live up to that standard. Industry sources have started calling Parkwood a career ender. Artists come in with dreams of breaking out, but instead they vanish into endless development, over-polished visuals, and an impossible balancing act between following Beyoncé's playbook and somehow being original. No wonder some rising stars are quietly jumping ship or letting their contracts lapse. One unsigned artist who nearly joined the label describes it as signing a vow of silence. You get the keys to the castle, but you have to act like you're invisible. Our first guest is one of the biggest stars on the planet. Please welcome my friend Beyoncé.
First guest is one of the biggest stars on the planet. Please welcome my friend Beyoncé.
This pattern repeats across Parkwood's short hink without a ripple. Creative differences are cited. Projects quietly shelved in the Bayhive so powerful when rallying for their queen rarely extends the same grace to her protégés. The narrative is always the same. Nobody can live in Beyoncé's shadow, and any attempt to try is destined to disappoint both the label and the audience. Is this just collateral damage from working under a perfectionist? Or is it something deeper? 3 former Parkwood employees have suggested privately that the label's support often amounts to little more than control and micromanagement, with Beyoncé's team pulling the strings at every turn. If true, it's a playbook that stifles originality and ensures no one ever eclipses the boss. This sense of creative suffocation has fueled wider industry speculation that Beyoncé's own obsession with image control has turned Parkwood from a launching pad into a trap. For artists looking to shape their own brands, the label's iron grip and ceaseless demand for polish are a recipe for stagnation. Why risk your career trying to please a queen who's impossible to please? And if the parade of stalled careers keeps growing, it's only a matter of time before the Parkwood curse becomes official industry dogma. I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people. You can't pretend the world hasn't noticed. As rumors of internal drama swirl, even Beyoncé's most lucrative partnerships are getting hit. The separation from Adidas was downplayed as an amicable split, but industry analysts saw the writing on the wall. Ivy Park's sales had tanked, its cultural cash outpaced by brands with more relatable founders and more transparent missions. Secret, meanwhile, is already being talked about as a niche luxuriant, a polite way of saying it's selling to a shrinking circle of super fans, not the mass market. We see other celebrities pivoting and engaging, whether it's with TikTok antics or candid interviews. Beyoncé, true to form, just draws the curtains tighter, convinced her silence is still an asset. Yet the market is unforgiving. For every carefully controlled launch, there's a competing brand that feels fresher, warmer, more accessible. Beyoncé's empire was built on revolution. Surprise drops, genre flips, power moves nobody else dared try. Now, the same playbook feels brittle, stuck in time. She refuses to do interviews, rarely speaks out except in the most measured tones, and seems incapable of letting anyone, even her collaborators, truly shine. While Rihanna's Fendi empire is out here making makeup and skincare inclusive, affordable, and approachable, Beyoncé's lines are viewed as high-priced trophies. For a new generation of consumers, the queen's refusal to come down from her throne looks less like strength and more like stubbornness. Beyoncé,